It is finally here this week. It's Alabama, it's Florida, it's the Crimson Tide, it's the Gators, and it is the 2020 SEC Championship in Atlanta. Let's go. What is going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here with Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with my 2020 SEC Championship preview video. I've been waiting on this matchup for a while. By the way, happy holidays to everyone. At least recording this on the 16th of December here on a Wednesday. I'll be premiering this video in a couple days or so, whenever you're seeing this, right? Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, favorite time of the year. But it being December for college football, that means we have a good slate of games. It's a little weird this year. This game is later than it normally is. This is normally the first weekend in December, but because of COVID, because of having to switch up the scheduling and everything, you just deal with it, right? But it is time, finally, for the 2020 SEC Championship game with Alabama and Florida. We got the Crimson Tide, we got the Gators. Alabama comes in 10-0. Florida Gators 8-2 in a 10-game season. This game being played this Saturday, December 19th at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Florida's losses to LSU at home and A&M on the road, who A&M, by the way, still only has one loss to Alabama. They have a really good case for the playoffs, so that's not a bad loss for Florida. I don't think LSU is either. It's a rivalry. You still shouldn't have lost that game the way they did. I'm sorry, but the shoe jokes just are not going anywhere anytime soon, are they? I don't think so. But let's look at this matchup, man. Alabama 10-0, Florida Gators 8-2, right? Two-loss teams do not get in the playoffs, right? So when you look at Florida, right, what's at stake here for these teams? Obviously, outside of winning the SEC and winning your conference, right? Alabama, what's at stake? A chance to go undefeated and go to the playoffs, play whoever, potentially a national title, and have an undefeated season for the first time since 2009. What's at stake for Florida? Winning the SEC, which they have not done since, I guess, 2008. It's been 12 years for the Gators. It's been, I guess, 2-3 years for Alabama, right? So that's what's at stake here. Can the question for Alabama, or let's start with Florida, right? The question for Florida, if they win this game, is can they still get in the playoffs as a two-loss SEC champion? I think so. But I also think that it's not going to be that easy. Look, two-loss teams just don't make the playoffs. They don't. I think they'd have to blow Bama out somehow. They'd have to truly win this game. Win it convincingly, too, by the way. So what are we looking at? Florida, 8-2. Bama, 10-0. Number 1 Alabama versus number 7 Florida. Florida got losses to LSU at home last week and A&M on the road, who, by the way, is a one-loss team. Has a good resume, good enough chance to maybe get that 4th spot in the playoffs. So that A&M loss isn't too bad. But a 3-win defending champ. First off, LSU, worst defending champs I think we've ever seen, right? The worst we've seen in a long time. Now, we understand everything they lost, but for the defending champs, you're expected to at least do something to make a bowl game, to compete. They haven't been that competitive this year. So that's a tough loss for Florida. Right. So you got Florida Gators coming in 8-2 off a 10-game season. Bama, 10-game season, 10-win team, have not lost yet. And Mac Jones is one of the many reasons why. Let's get to this quarterback matchup. What we've been waiting for all season long, all month long, all year long, however long, right? We've been waiting on this. Excuse me. Mac Jones and Kyle Trask, both with Heisman hopes, right? Even though maybe that LSU game probably lowered the chances for Kyle Trask, I still think you can't take him out of the conversation just because he's lost 2 games. He still looked phenomenal outside of that, right? And even in those losses, he looked great. Weren't his best games. I think you blame the defense for Florida for those losses, honestly, right? Maybe the loss to LSU last week probably did lower the chances for Kyle Trask. Look at Mac Jones, though, and he continues to improve week after week. Can he even get better as a quarterback for Alabama? Possibly. I think he could still work on being a little bit more mobile, but I mean, just the poise that he has in the pocket, the arm strength that he has. Just he's a team leader, and that's what you need. Kyle Trask is a good team leader as well. Right? And that's what you want. You want guys that are going to go out there, play the game well, and deliver the football. So you got Mac Jones and Kyle Trask. We're waiting on it all year long, all season long, and we're going to get it this Saturday, December 19th at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Right? Mac Jones keeps improving weekly. Can he even get better than what he is right now? I think he can, but I don't know where. I mean, he's just that good. Can Trask as well? Can he get any better? I mean, is Kyle Trask to blame for the losses for Florida? I don't think so. If I'm Florida and looking at the losses that we have right now, I mean, blame Grantham. Blame Grantham. Seriously, that Gator defense, man. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the game preview, folks. All right, let's look at this, right? Number 1, Alabama versus number 6, Florida. And, of course, these updated based on... I'm recording this on a Wednesday, based on last night, Tuesday night's rankings, right? Number 1, Alabama versus number 6, Florida, in Atlanta, Georgia, for the SEC championship game. The teams meet in Gainesville next year in 2021. By the way, that'll be interesting. And I don't know. I figured I'd throw that out there. I'll throw this out there as well. They haven't met each other since the SEC championship game in 2016. And of course, since, the beginning, like 1992 or whatever, of the SEC title game, they've had some good history and some good matchups. It's kind of the most common matchup that we've seen in the history of the SEC championship, right? You look back, the first one in 92, of course, they got some good history. 2008, Tebow won, helped the Gators, win the SEC. They went on to win the BCS against Oklahoma. They won. They're the defending champs the next year in 2009. We'll get to that in a minute. All the hype around Tim Tebow, right? Florida, Urban Meyer, right? They got all these players. But who was standing there saying, no, you ain't taking the spotlight? Greg McElroy, Mark Ingram, Roy Upchurch for Alabama, and Nick Saban. 2009 comes along. The big, bad showdown rematch in 2009. Literally a turning of the tide for college football for the SEC, right? You look at it. They've had some good history. 32-13 over the Florida Gators. And Alabama goes on to win the BCS title game. The only undefeated team in the Nick Saban era. 14-0. 2009 national champions when they beat Texas in that BCS title game. Right? Made Tebow cry. Not that I mean, I guess Bama fans were kind of happy about that. I don't know. I love Tim Tebow. I think he's a good analyst. He's just a good human being and a good Christian man. So, as a human being and everything, you got to respect Tim Tebow. But at that moment in time, I mean, football wise, you know what I mean? So, but this year, let's put the past behind us, right? Good or bad. Let's look at this year in 2020, people. Better camera angle there. Two Heisman hopefuls, Mac Jones and Kyle Trask. We got into that, right? They're looking for that trophy and, of course, the SEC title. And these two teams, Florida and Bama, haven't met since 2016. Jalen Hurts, remember, he was a freshman at Alabama, led them to the playoffs. Clemson wins the title against Alabama, first time winning the title in general since 1981, 35-year drought, blah, 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 blah. We get all that. We understand that. They haven't met since then, right? Then Georgia comes along in the East, takes it from Florida, right? Congrats to the Dogs. You know, got a lot of love and respect for the Dog fans. Chess Hall, Uncle Lou, Junkyard, all you guys, shout out to you. Love you guys. Love all you guys, Dog fan or not, Bama fan or not. This is a little different. It's 1 versus 7. And again, like I mentioned, both teams have a Heisman hopeful QB. You got Kyle Trask with the Gators. You got Mac Jones with the Tide. Great offenses and defenses. Well, at least for one team, right? Well, okay, great offense on both teams. Great defense for Alabama. We talk about that Ole Miss game. 48 points to Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. And yes, they turned it around. Only gave up 24 to Georgia the next week. After that, they shut them out the second half. Great offenses and some defense, right? Obviously, look out for the quarterbacks, right? But also some key players for both teams. I mean, look at Alabama's defense with Christian Harris at linebacker. Dylan Moses is a good player still. He's not the best in the country. I know. I said that on Uncle Lou's Call-In Show, blah, blah, blah. He's not. But he's still great. He's still a good player. He ain't the best, right? Christian Harris, Dylan Moses, Justin Boygby and company, right? Look at that defense. And look out for the receiving corps in Smitty, Devontae Smith and John Mechie, right? Florida, look at them. Good weapons. Damian Pierce at running back. He's decent. Kadarius Toney's mainly the go-to guy for Kyle Trask, I think. Outside of like Kyle Pitts at tight end, of course. To Damian Pierce at the running back position, though. He's got some good numbers, but it's one of those things like Kyle Trask throws it so much that I feel like it holds back Damian Pierce and his numbers and the run game, stats, right? Like, oh, the run game is not that good. No, Kyle Trask just throws it so much, man. That's really all it is. And the same can be said for Alabama, although Najee Harris is just that type of player. Not to throw Damian Pierce or whoever under the bus for Florida. But Najee's just that type of Heisman type of guy. He's just that great that you want to give him the football. You probably want to give a guy like Damian Pierce the ball. But probably not as much as Najee Harris. Right? Trask has great weapons. Again, Pitts, man. They say Kyle Pitts could win the Heisman or something. He might be the best tight end in all of college football, right? Bama's got a couple good tight ends, but they don't compare to Pitts. Come on. No offense to any of the Bama tight ends, like Forrestall or whoever. Right? Florida's defense, and we'll get on to that, a little bit later on. Their defense is struggling at times. A lot, right? They're not the worst. They darn sure ain't the best. They're decent, They have a hard time getting off the field on third down. They give up big plays here or there. Not so great in the turnover margin, but they could still apply a little bit of pressure and Maybe some turnovers here or there, but against the best of the best competition, it's like, you know what I mean? They struggle with that. And they're playing the best team that they faced all year in Alabama. What is that going to look like for Florida's defense? We'll see. They got to play for 4 quarters, right? I really don't think they can. I just, we'll get to that a little bit later on. But at the same time, like, I just don't know, man. I feel like at some point, they're either going to be a second half defense that shows up, or they're going to get off to a really good start, and then Mac Jones is going to find his rhythm. We will see. So, how can these teams win this weekend? Let's go ahead and look at that. Let's start with my Crimson Tide of Alabama real quick, man. Bama, I came up. I got 4 things for Florida, and I got 5 things for Alabama, right? They have the defense this week that we've seen since that Ole Miss game. That Ole Miss game, they look like they belong in the Big 12. I was embarrassed. Oh, but they won. So what? The standard at Alabama is good defense. That's what it's always been with Nick Saban. Defense, defense, defense. Defense wins championships. That's been proven time and time again. Remember I did that flashback video, what was it, 1983, 87, somewhere in the 80s, right? That Fiesta Bowl. Defense wins championships, right? Vinny Testaverde, great quarterback for Miami, throws the ball, right? Who was it? Pete Giftopoulos intercepted the ball in the end zone or whatever. And pretty much sealed it for Penn State. Defense wins championships. This is the SEC championship. It wins games in general. I don't care if it's a title game or not. It just wins football games, right? Your offense can be putting up as many points as there are stars in the sky. But if your defense can't show up at all and you're giving up points and points and points and the opponent just keeps getting closer and closer to you, it's not going to look that great for you. Your chances of winning that game go down a little bit because it's like, hold on, they're getting closer. The score's getting close. Defense has got to show up for Alabama. I think it will. Now, I'm going to be real. And we'll get to the score prediction a little later on. Right? This is Kyle Trask. Bama's defense has not faced an offense like Florida's. But at the same time, like Florida's offense hasn't faced a defense like Bama's, outside of like maybe Georgia or whoever. So like, I'm not going to sit here and be so upset if they give up a touchdown. If they give up like 3 or 4 touchdowns to Florida. Because we get it. That's what Kyle Trask is going to do. He's going to score some points. The question is how many. Again, score prediction in a minute. A little later on. But Bama can win if they do. I got 5 things for them. Number 1, they have the defense that we have seen. No Ole Miss type of game. No struggles that we saw in that game. Remember, even though they won, it was 63-48. That was week 3 of the season. Here we are at the SEC title game, and the defense has just gotten better and better each week. They cannot slow down and give up like 40 or 50 points in this game. They have got to hold them to at least 20 or 30, right? At least under 30, please. Begging you guys. You got to play for 4 quarters. That kind of ties in to what I just mentioned about the defense. Play for 4 quarters. Don't be a second half team. Don't be a first half team. Right? You especially need it in the second half, if anything. But I still think, even if... How do I put this? If you shut out Florida in the first half, not like shut them out, but like if you play them really, really well and you're up big at halftime, they come out and the defense slows down, Kyle Trask is going to make a comeback. And vice versa. Maybe he's doing really, really well in the first half. Defense slows down in the second half, or shows up in the second half. Maybe he has poise that I can do this, and he keeps putting up more numbers. So you got to play for 4 quarters against this great offense, right? Mac Jones and company, Smitty and all them, they got to, well, be Mac Jones and company. Do what you've done all year, man. Just throw the football. Run the game with Najee Harris. Just be you, Mac. Go out there and do what you do, bro. Light it up. Give it to Smitty. I want to say give it to Waddle. Prayers to him. From what I understand, he's getting better. Probably still won't play this year, but, I mean, just throw it to a guy, right? Miller Forrestall at tight end. John Mechie, right? All these guys. Slade Bolden. Give it to him. Give it to Najee. Brian Robinson, whoever you want to run the football, most likely Najee Harris. Just be you, Mac. Go out there, be the Mac attack, be the Joker gone wild, and go out there and just go crazy with it, man. Just play. They'll take things for granted, like you can make every throw on the field, because, I mean, the quarterback's not going to make every throw. But just do what you've done all year, man. Be good in the run game with Najee Harris. The deep ball attack with Smitty or Mechie or whoever, right? And if Florida's defense is struggling, use it to your advantage, right? Especially the defensive line has struggled. Run the ball, right? Trust your O-line that they're going to block and run the ball with Najee. Getting to the defense, man, y'all got to play for 4 quarters. I cannot stress this or express this enough. I just cannot, right? Play for 4 quarters. Don't have a first half game and then let them come back on you in the second half, right? Don't keep slowing down in the game, right? If you get off to a slow start, maybe in the first couple drives or so, but then get in rhythm, that's okay. You're not going to be perfect, but y'all got to play for 4 quarters, 3.5 quarters, something like that. No less than 3.5, right? Y'all got to play. No struggle defense, I just mentioned that, right? Don't have a game like you did against Ole Miss. Go out there and do what you've done all year. Pete Golding. Remember, they have a fan sitting there, oh, fire Pete Golding, and everything like that. I'm not saying we want to keep him, but at least we're not saying fire Golding. He's turned it around. Nick Saban did something to jump down his throat and finally bring something out of him that he's turned it around just like that, man. Christian Harris at linebacker. Dylan Moses. Right? Justin Boygby. Try to say that name. I'm still learning it a little bit. Boygby? I don't know. Just guys like that. Josh Jobe and Patrick Surtain at safety or corner or whatever. In the secondary. They got to show up too. Cover those receivers. Will Reichard, if needing to, has to hit field goals. He has not missed this year, and clearly has been the answer for the struggles in Bama's kicking game. Where was this kid 10 years ago when we needed him? 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't know where he was, but he's here now. He's here to stay. Will Reichard, right? Now, let's say you do have Florida's defense show up, right? And he needs to kick like a 52-yarder to get on the board or try to cut the deficit. Maybe you're down. If he needs to kick the ball, he needs to kick the ball. I trust Will Reichard. He's a heck of a kicker, man. I like to compare him to like Hot Rod for Georgia. I mean, he's in the NFL now, I think, with like the Colts or whoever. But, I mean, he's a heck of a kicker. And if you need him, he needs to kick some field goals, man. He can't miss them. He has not missed this year. One final thing for Alabama. Dear God. Cover Kyle Pitts. I can't stress this enough. I can't express it enough. Cover Kyle Pitts. Look, this dude's a beast. He's a heck of a tight end. He's fast. He can block. He can do it all. He's probably the best tight end in college football right now. The best I've seen in a while. You got to cover him. Y'all got to get on him. Because he's a playmaker. That's what he's going to go do. He's going to make some plays. Down the field, right? Kyle to Kyle. Trask to Pitts. All season long, we've seen it. And it's going to happen a couple times in this game, I'm sure. Florida, how do they win this game? It's going to be tough, but how do they do it? Trask has got to handle the pressure of guys like Christian Barmore, Justin Boybe, DJ Dale, and so on, right? The same for the run game, right? Seriously. Oh, yeah. The run game hasn't been a really strong point for this Florida offense. It's been throwing the ball, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, sometimes you got to run the ball, you know. But Trask has got to handle the pressure. That means that O-line's got to step up. You'll have Christian Barmore, DJ Dale, as I mentioned, Justin Boybe, who's a really good edge defender on the outside, who's young. These guys are young and new, like freshman or sophomore. I think sophomore. Look, these guys are going to step up, man. Be in your face. You got to handle that pressure. You got to hope your O-line's blocking and helping you out some. Defense, somehow, some way, in any way, shows up and throws Mac Jones off his game. Bama's going to punt maybe one or two times. Not a whole lot. Again, maybe a slow start. I don't know. But Florida's defense has got to show up in this game. If they cannot show up and can't cover a guy like Smitty, can't cover a guy like Mechie, Slade Bolden, whoever, can't even get pressure on Mac Jones, it's going to be a long night for this Florida defense. It just will be. Y'all got to show up and throw Mac Jones off his game. Break that secondary, too, with your receivers. Again, Kyle Pitts, Kadarius Toney, and oh God, Kyle Pitts. Show up, dude. Your team needs you. Definitely. And Kadarius Toney, I think, should get a little bit more credit and recognition. Right? He's really good. He's got 62 receptions on the year, 9 touchdowns, 831 yards. Now he leads receiving for the Gators, but at the same time, like, you know, don't take that away from like Kyle Pitts or whoever, right? And again, here's a couple stats. Again, I mentioned the over-under is like 74.5. Bama, 17-point favorite in this game, according to ESPN. Bama scoring about 49.5 points per game. 49, 50 points a game, right? Florida's pretty close, 41 points a game. But Florida's giving up about 26 points a game. Bama only allowing about 16 or 17, right? Now, getting back to my notes here. Basically, here's the deal. Florida is only going to win if they can break Alabama's defense. That's what it comes down to. That's just it. Kyle Trask has got to be himself, do what he's done all year. Kyle Pitts, Kadarius Toney, all those guys got to break the secondary, get open, offensive line show up. This is how you win. This is how offense wins games. Perfect O-line blocking for your quarterback. That helps him have some time in the pocket. And if you got a guy open, and especially if you got a guy like Trask who's got a strong arm, and he can deliver the ball downfield, that's how Florida is going to try to win this game. You basically break the Bama defense, break the secondary with your receivers. And again, as I mentioned, y'all got to hope that somehow your defense can show up in some way and throw Mac Jones off his game, or Bryce Young. I mean, Mac Jones will start, but like, you know, you never know when you might need a backup in a game. I mean, if it's Bryce Young out there running the score up, maybe you're down like 2 touchdowns or something, and y'all need some sort of turnover, get to Bryce Young. Right? I'm just throwing that out there. But anyway, with that being said, people, I broke down everything. Again, Bama's got to have the defense that we've seen the past few weeks since that Ole Miss game. Can't have what happened in that game happen in this one. 63-48 was that game in week 3. And since then, they've just been lights out. They've gotten better every week. They got to get better this week. They got to play hard. Will Reichert, if needed, he needs to hit some field goals. Please, again, cover Kyle Pitts and play for 4 quarters on defense. That's how Bama wins this game. And again, as I mentioned, Kyle Trask has got to handle the pressure of the Bama defense for Florida to win the game. And they got to hope that they can break Alabama's defense and that somehow Mac Jones just has a terrible game and messes up. With that being said, people, I'm going to go ahead and give my final score prediction for the 2020 SEC Championship game with Alabama and Florida. I got the SEC champion being crowned this weekend. Alabama 41, Florida 27. It could be closer. It very much could. But at the same time, maybe not. Maybe, maybe Florida's offense doesn't play for 4 quarters. Maybe Kyle Trask has either a good second half or a good first half, and then the other half where he's just terrible. I don't know, right? I don't see it being all that close. This is a 2-touchdown game I'm calling. Bama 41, Florida 27, and it's going to be a heck of a game. I'm looking forward to it. I've looked forward to it the past few weeks ever since they announced that it's going to be these 2 teams. I've been waiting just on this matchup for, I guess, since 2017 or whatever. I'm like, can we get back to seeing Bama and Florida? And it's here, and I'm excited, and I love it, man. It's going to be great. So, I'm premiering this video. Y'all have been giving your thoughts all along, I'm sure. Let me know what your score predictions are in this game. Let me know what you think has to happen. If you missed this stream, just comment down below. What needs to happen in this game? How does Bama win? How does Florida win? Who wins and why? What's your score prediction? Who are you pulling for, too? And it's going to be a good game in prime time this Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS. The 2020 SEC Championship game with Alabama and Florida. So, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Like, comment, and subscribe. All that good stuff for more sports content to Ballard Sports Media. Have a good day. Happy holidays. And roll tide roll. Have a good one. Love you guys. Let's go beat Florida. See you guys later. Roll tide.